run. What a run. Marshall. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Receivers, and this time he lost one and it's picked off.
And Brady and Moss hook up. Great football players showing why they're great.
He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans.
Well, happy Wednesday to all you fantasy football degenerates, and welcome to the DFS Advisor. And we got a big show tonight. We got a lot of things happening, a lot of updates, a lot of giveaways, dropping of fantasy football leagues for Inner Circle Fantasy Entertainment. We are moving in a direction to bring you guys some of the best leagues that you can join. We're moving in a direction to bring you a vision of what's going on in the fantasy world, from leagues to a lot of the things that y'all should be knowing about, joining leagues. If you're new to fantasy football, if you are, a veteran of fantasy football, some things to look out for. Vetting your leagues before you get involved in them is something that you all should be doing. You should research your commissioners. You should research the players that you're playing with, and all of those things you can do. Sleeper has allowed us to dip into their history books. We can find out some things about commissioners that we were never able to do before. We can find some things out about our fellow players that we couldn't do before. You just have to be diligent and want to do those things. And I advise you, I urge you to find out who you're playing fantasy football with, find out who you are allowing to be your commissioner, and how they operate their leagues, which can save you a lot of grief, can save you a lot of money, can make your fantasy football season much more enjoyable if you know, A, who you're playing with, and B, who your commissioner is and how they operate their leagues. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. We've got some information to pass on to you guys about that, in the style of leagues you're getting involved in, and where you may want to place your finances to play fantasy football. Let's face it, we are either fantasy football degenerates from a draft standpoint, we are fantasy football players from a gambling standpoint, or we just do it for fun. There's all sorts of avenues to get involved in, and we're going to give you some of those opportunities and advise you in what we think is some things to look out for and some things to look forward to. So we always want to start out our shows by thanking our sponsors. A lot of these podcast guys in today's world, they get into it for a lot of different reasons. We do it for fun. We do it for entertainment, and we do it for the love of the game of fantasy football. And myself, I'm a draft junkie. I don't want to say I could care less, but as the season goes on and the league starts shaking out, I always look back at why I joined a league, why I took on an orphan league. It's the challenge to me, the challenge of seeing if I can draft a team that is going to be competitive going into the year. It's the challenge for me to grab an orphan and spend 25, 30, 50 bucks and see if I can turn that league around and get it competitive. I like to try to get involved in some of these orphans to save a league from being nuked, or, you see some of these commissioners giving up on leagues. So I kind of have a heart towards orphan leagues. It's a challenge to me. I enjoy it. So it's not so much the outcome of what I do year one, year two. I look at dynasty leagues as a long-term commitment. I look at my dynasty Devies as a much longer, long-term commitment. So we all get involved in these fantasy leagues for whatever reasons we do, but let's face it, it's for the fun, it's for the adrenaline. It's to me a pastime that I love to do. So we're going to be bringing up to you guys some ways that you can get involved with some new leagues coming up, and some advisories of leagues to stay away from, some commissioners to stay away from. We're playing chess here. We at Fantasy Entertainment, Inner Circle Entertainment, DFS Advisor, we're playing chess, not checkers. We like to play the long game. A lot of guys like to play the short game, and they're into their redrafts. I'm not a big redraft guy. I probably play 5-6 redrafts a year, but they're all high dollar. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to gamble in redraft. Dynasty is a little more pastime for me. I like to play those for the long game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as the night goes on. Sponsors, Premier Properties, Steve and Nikki, we always want to thank you. You are our number one. Your monies, your friendships, your commitment to us is second to none. I can't even begin to tell you guys, the costs that are involved in running a podcast, running a iHeart radio station, running a Facebook Reels. The things that we do, our parodies are costing us money. But we want to be able to put into those things and breathe life into them to bring you guys entertainment. As the year goes on, you guys are going to have more fun here than you can shake a stick at, because I'm not all about just talking fantasy football players, what I think they're going to do and who thinks this is the best team. We're bringing you entertainment. We're bringing you parodies. We're bringing you sarcasm. We're bringing you fun. We're bringing you all kinds of different things that you guys can, tap into to sit back, relax, and enjoy our shows. If you're into Jimbo's hot takes, we like to direct you in a way of what I personally think. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I like to think that the amount of time I've spent in fantasy football and gambling, that I got a pretty good beat on things. We have some insider information with our Tampa Bay media group, where it brings me on the inside of the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team, spent some time in their locker room this week. What a blessing it's been to, put my efforts into this Tampa Bay media thing. The Tampa Bay Rays, we're doing some things with them, some fundraisers. Tampa Bay Rays hit it hard with the Hurricanes, lost their stadium, have now got new ownership, and in the breath of fresh air in the Tampa Bay media is so cool, and given me a whole different side of things, whether it be from the journalism of writing, the photography benefits that I've received. It's been a learning process for me on how I can share those things with the public. I didn't realize that being involved in the Tampa Bay media would be so restrictive on what you can share, what you can't share, what you're licensed to do, what you're not licensed to do. But however, some of those things are going to get better as the time goes on in 2026. And I'm so excited about it. We're going to be at the NFL draft combine this year, doing some reporting, some inside reporting, on-field activities. We're going to be doing the Fantasy Expo, Expo up in Canton this year. We also have a thing that we've put together with Sleeper to bring a platform of information about players, information about commissioners, some of the do's and don'ts that Sleeper is learning to allow and not allow. There's going to be some changes in 2026, especially in the states of California, in the state of Texas, in the state of New York. There's going to be some very big changes with Sleeper in what they allow to happen in their leagues. There's been a lot of misrepresentation of leagues in Sleeper to where these commissioners are using the Sleeper platform to operate illegal gambling. They have been allowed to operate businesses that are not known to Sleeper to be what these guys have been doing. Sleeper is getting ready to make some changes in what they allow, in what their players are going to be able to be a part of. So it's kind of cutting edge, if you will. There's been some commissioners. There's been a group of players that have gotten together and put together a committee and addressed some of the issues that are going on in Sleeper, in ESPN, some of the things that are being done on their platforms, and providing the public leagues that are being manipulated within the platform of Sleeper, whether it be your bracket leagues. If you got a guy that is operating a league with a spreadsheet on the side within Sleeper, be prepared for it to end. It's coming to an end. If it's not a Sleeper, how do I want to put this? If it's not a Sleeper league that Sleeper allows you to play, and you have commissioners manipulating the Sleeper app by adding things that are not Sleeper app, they're going to be coming to an end very abruptly. So just be prepared to acknowledge where you're putting your money and how you're spending your money. There's a lot of illegal things being done from a gambling standpoint within the Sleeper app, and Sleeper is well aware of it now. Okay. Some of these states' attorneys, attorney generals are aware of how these leagues are being operated within they're being operated within an app that a lot of people weren't aware of because they just didn't pay attention to the depth and the width of what these commissioners are doing on their platforms. And a lot of those things have been brought to the forefront, and are being investigated, are being looked into, and are going to come to a head, if you will. So I've been a proponent in that because my heart is in doing the right thing. My heart is in the best interest of the fantasy football player, not necessarily in the best interest of your day-to-day gambling. If you want to gamble, I suggest that you gamble in fantasy football in the legal realm of fantasy football in your leagues. For the most part, it's very upfront, very legal, and very transparent. However, there's a lot of leagues that are being run kind of in the back room, if you will, and some of those are being exposed, and there's a lot of commissioners, a lot of players, more players than commissioners that have come forward and are exposing some of these guys that are making a lot of money off of you guys that are joining these leagues, these collective leagues, these how do I put this? If you're betting on the side in a league that you are in, that is ESPN league, Yahoo league, sleeper league, format, platform, be cautious. Be cautious of how you do it. Not only are you at risk, but I promise you the commissioners that are running these leagues are at risk. And we'll be exposing some of these. And as time goes on through 2026, we're going to bring you some more information on that. Back to our sponsors, we want to thank the Freaky Tiki, Hernando Beach, in his boat rides that he does for sunset cruises. It's a great getaway. It's a great time to get out on the water, enjoy a sunset, enjoy some drinks, and enjoy some company. Our charter boats here in town are running daily fishing trips out to the reef. Look some of them guys up. It's a fun little town to hang out in. J.R. Lewis, I want to thank you in some of the things you're doing within our media in bringing us music, some of our bumper music, some of our, a lot of that's happening within our app and with our iHeartRadio. I want to thank you big time for that. And this week, we're going to talk some rookie drafts, some wide receiver rankings for 2026, some draft things. We're going to be talking about some of these head coach availabilities, some of the news. We're going to be talking playoffs. Our Saturday show is really targeted this week on the head coaching changes, some of the OC offensive coordinator expected landings for some of these available guys that have either lost their jobs, walked away from their jobs. We're also going to preview the college football championship coming up. Miami Hurricanes are playing at home. What a deal, man. Can you imagine going through everything Miami went through to get into the playoff berth for college football, let alone ended up getting a playoff championship game at home? I mean, that just doesn't happen in college football. And, we have that opportunity happening with the 49ers. If the 49ers in the NFL can get over the hump and get through the Seahawks, they may very well be playing a Super Bowl at home out in San Francisco at Levi. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about. You know me, I'm all over the board. I talk a little football. I talk a little hockey. I talk a little bit racing, dirt track, oval track, road courses, NASCAR. So as time goes on, you guys will see some of those little blurps come up. So it's just me wanting to talk sports. I'm not just tied into fantasy football and the NFL. I'm kind of a little bit all over the board. Whatever feels good, feels good. And me, we always tend to try to bring some reality to the show, whether it be personal, from friendships, from the guy down the street to a coworker. We don't mind talking trash. We don't mind talking about people. So In fact, our parodies are probably our biggest outlet for that. I made a commitment to myself to not so much call people out personally by name. If you get called out on the Jimbo Show, I can guarantee you it's going to start off with a parody. That's how we're going to do it. It's entertainment, it's fun, and it also gives us a chance to kind of bring things out in a fun Saturday Night Live kind of way, to where it's not meant to be demeaning. It's not meant to hurt people. It's meant to have fun and make fun of them, make fun of the situation, and just be real people. I mean, we're the working man station. We are not your typical run-of-the-mill ratings, followings, subscribe. I could give a shit less whether you subscribe. I could give a shit less whether you follow. I could care less whether you're in chat. Speaking of that, sorry for cussing. Wow, dude, thanks for coming in. Orphans have filled, good times, expansions happening now. Sorry for cussing. Ha, ha, ha. Be prepared for Jim to lie about a podcast. Ha, ha, ha. What's this? Nobody believes this, thankfully. Okay, so sorry for cussing showed up in our chat tonight. And let's talk a little bit about sorry for cussing. Thank you for the opportunity, Chris. I'm glad you chimed in and gave me an opportunity to reply to the chat that you're bringing to the show. Thank you so much for chiming in, because you are an asshole, number one, okay? An asshole. And he is also an ass kisser. He is also someone that sits in the background on his fat ass all day long because he has no job. He has no life, and he loves fantasy football, and he has kissed enough ass to get himself into a league and into a podcast opportunity that I helped promote him get, because the owner of the leagues he plays for in the very beginning, Chris, thank you for giving me this opportunity to chime in. The owner of the leagues that he plays and the commissioner that he plays with couldn't stand this fucking kid. This kid was a piece of shit stirring person in chat, which we all have experienced through all of our leagues. You got that one guy that is a mouth running, diarrhea, shit stirring piece of shit. This sorry for cussing that's in our chat tonight, that's trying to troll and has been trolling me since I left Ballsville and tries to stir up shit. Chris, you're not touching me. You're not touching the show. You're not touching our future. And you know what? You can talk all the trash you want to talk. You can troll all of my social media. You can troll all of everything I do. But I trust the people that have already joined our apps and follow us and are a part of what we're doing. Don't really appreciate you coming in and trolling us, but you can troll us. It's fun entertainment. And you know what? It gives me a way to vent. It gives me a way to talk about how much of a piece of shit you really are. And our parodies, just so you guys know, sorry for cussing Chris up in New Jersey, New York, wherever you want to call him, from up there, that sits on his fat ass all day and just trolls people and talk shit. In our parodies, you guys all well know him for sorry for kissing ass. That's who Chris is. So enough of Chris. We've given him more exposure than he deserves, but you can find him every Wednesday. I think their show is on Ballsville. I'll go ahead and give him a plug if you want to watch him. You can find him at Ballsville leagues over there. He's a big part of their program. All right, so let's move on from the show now that Chris has got me going. That's fun because that's going to lead me right into some of the other stuff we're going to talk about. But Chris, thanks for showing up, buddy. All right. So you guys, this is our bracket going into the playoffs. You got the Buffalo Bills with Denver. This game here, I don't know. Josh Allen has been carrying this team on his back for a long time. Does he continue to be able to do it? Last week with Jacksonville, it was an up and down game. Jacksonville fell down. Their defense just wasn't enough. In this lineup, I think the Denver Broncos defense is going to give Josh a little bit more than he wants to deal with. I think Denver will shut down any amount of Bills running game that they're going to have. And like we all know, Josh and the Buffalo Bills don't have a great wide receiver core. They don't have a real number one. This game is going to go through Shakir and Kincaid and possibly a little bit of Knox. I don't think Cooks is going to have all that great a game. I think this is where the Bills run. Everybody says that with Lamar out, with Mahomes out, this is Josh's year to run the table and make it to the Super Bowl. I think it ends here with Denver. I don't see the Bills getting through the Broncos here. I think this will probably be a 9-point win for Denver. I think there'll be some field goals in this game. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of running touchdowns on either side of the ball. I think in order to get into the end zone, it's either going to take Josh running the football, in the red zone to get in the end zone. I don't think the running game for Denver is going to be all that great, even though the Bills' defense has not really, been that tough. So I look for Denver to win this game by 9 points. That's my take on that. The Houston Texans had a great game this last week. Their defense really put Aaron Rodgers to sleep. That defensive front seven is probably the best in the NFL, in my opinion. How does that happen with the Pats? I think they're going to be putting some pressure on Drake May. So Drake May is going to have to get a little creative. He can run the football. He is good outside the pocket. He can throw on the run. I think from a standpoint of offensive balance, I think the Pats have a little bit better offensive balance. I think Drake May's playing a little better football than Stroud. So, this is going to kind of be a defensive game. I look for it to be a little bit more low scoring than you would maybe think. But I still have the Pats winning this game. I still have the Pats winning this game by 3. So I think it's going to be low scoring. I think the Pats got a lot better running game. So we'll see how it all plays out. See who steps up. I don't know if Nico Collins is going to be available with us for this game with a concussion, so we'll see. You also got the 49ers and the Seahawks in this NFC battle for making it to the next step. I really think San Francisco is on a roll. Even without George Kittle, I still think they're strong enough at the tight end position. Even when Kittle was out earlier in the year, their tight ends stepped up, and they still had, if you look at some of the points these tight ends put up throughout the year when Kittle was out, I still think they got a pretty good chance to win this football game. McCaffrey in the backfield. The Seahawks got a great defense. Their running game is sketchy. However, they do have a two-headed monster in the backfield. Again, this I think is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very game management type game. And I think Brock Purdy's a better game manager than Sam Darnold. I look for this to be a close game. Look for this game to come down to a field goal also at the end. I'm taking San Francisco over the Seahawks by 3. All right, the Rams and the Bears, okay? The Bears have been pulling, I've heard on a lot of shows that the Bears got to, kind of the old Jimmy Johnson and NASCAR thing, got the, the horseshoe up his ass. So I think the Bears are in the same boat. They've had a horseshoe up their ass. They've been extremely lucky. I'm not going to dispute that Caleb Williams has been playing some good football in the fourth quarter of these games as of late. I think Matt Stafford struggled with the Rams last week. I think their defense is lacking. If the Bears win this game, it's going to be 110% Ben Johnson. Okay. The play calling in this game is going to be paramount for the Bears. If they have a good offensive scheme against the Rams, I think they can beat the Rams. However, I'm never going to doubt Matt Stafford. With Adams and Puka Nacua, Matt can throw the football probably better than anybody in the league out of the pocket. Do the Bears get to him like they did last week against the Rams? I don't think so. So this, again, I think is going to be a close game. However, I think it's going to be a little bit bigger point spread for the win. I'm going against what my heart's telling me. I really like the Rams in this game. However, the horseshoe up the ass type thing has really kind of got me. I don't want to bet against Ben Johnson. I think the Bears win this game by 6. I'm gonna take the Bears by 6 in that game. So that's my take on that. Let's check out chat. Sorry for Cussin is sitting here talking about himself. It only took 13 podcasts to get anyone without the last name Ferlin to comment. Where your co-hosts? My co-hosts are very busy, and they are still on the show, Chris. Just so you know. But in fact, my co-host has had a very big tragedy in his family, which you probably don't give a shit about. Those of us that are family here at Inner Circle, Jay is dealing with some extremely personal, bad situations at home right now. So just so you know, Chris, your sarcasm and your smart ass comments, I'll let Jay deal with you when he gets back on that because you're an asshole. But anyways, guys, you can take whatever Chris says in chat for what it's worth. The guy's a piece of shit. He's a troll, and we'll deal with him as we go. His parodies have been fun, and the fans love making fun of Sorry for Kissing Ass and parodies. All right, so we're going to move on to let's move on to this. Tampa Bay Rays. Spring training tickets went on sale. The Rays are under new ownership. They're working on the trop, trying to get the roof on. The roof is complete, by the way. They're remodeling a lot of the suites. They're remodeling a lot of the inside of the stadium, which, was definitely affected by Hurricane Milton. So the Rays probably are not going to spend a lot of money in free agency this year. I think they're putting their money into stadium plans. It's really been an up and down thing with the Rays and the stadium thing. The Rays are probably going to move to Hillsborough County. Okay, the Rays are probably going to move to the Tampa area, the other side of the bridge. For those of you who know Tampa Bay and Pinellas County and St. Pete, we're divided by a very nice bridge that we all love to deal with traffic in the mornings. So it's kind of like if you live in Hillsborough County, you want the Rays to be in Tampa Bay. If you live in Pinellas County, St. Pete area, you want the Rays to be there so you don't have to go back and forth across the bridge. So it's kind of like a toss-up. There's more things to do in Tampa Bay. Ybor City, everything that's going on downtown Tampa. I think it's more feasible for growth from a fan standpoint for the Rays to be in Hillsborough County and Tampa Bay. So there's a lot of different irons in the fire. These things are going to be coming out. I do think you're going to see some changes from the ownership standpoint. I think all things are on the up and up for the Tampa Bay Rays. Look for them to be very competitive this year. I wouldn't throw them out of the running for making the playoffs this year. So a lot of things exciting happening. Those of you that partake in a lot of the training camps and spring training for baseball in Florida, Central Florida, whether it be in Dunedin, with the Blue Jays, there's a lot of things happening in Lakeland, a lot of things happening down by Sarasota, Fort Myers area. So tune in to the Rays, stay up with the Rays, but spring training is up and going, and tickets went on sale, I think, yesterday. So you can, if you're a baseball fan and you're in Florida, the Tampa Bay Rays, I think, are looking on the up and up. We'll see how they end up. Another thing going on in Tampa Bay that's not football, the Lightning. These guys just set a record last night, franchise record for 11 straight wins. These guys are on a roll. They have been kicking ass, taking names, and putting a lot of these teams down. However, they did, lose Brandon Point in Philly the other night with a knee injury. We'll see how that plays out. It's looking like he will be back for the playoffs. The Lightning will definitely be in the playoffs this year, as they are most every year. But they are, like we like to say here in Central Florida, the hockey team, the Tampa Bay Lightning are white hot, man. These guys are really, really whipping ass on just about everybody they play. So we're following these guys. They're hot. If you guys get downtown Tampa and you want to check out a game, I guarantee you, it's not Amalie Arena anymore, but Benchmark down there, you guys would love to go down there, hang out in Ybor. A lot of good restaurants, a lot of fun pregame stuff for the Lightning down there. So don't be afraid to check out a Lightning game if you're in town. It's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun. The fan base is fun. It's a great place to hang out. A lot of the boats hang out there in Tampa Bay, and that's kind of their tailgating, if you will. It's kind of boat gating. You can walk down on some of the docks, hang out with some of the boat people, and they're some of the best people you'll ever hang out with. So Tampa Bay Lightning are on a roll. They're winning games. Don't be afraid to check out a game. All right, so moving on from Tampa Bay stuff there. All right, so we're going to get down here to some rankings. 2026 drafting for your wide receivers. I don't know how you guys got them ranked. This is the ranking, how, it's kind of played out this year. I would call it tier 1, tier 2. Tier 1, Puka, Chase, JSN, CeeDee Lamb, Amon St. Brown, Drake London, Rasheen Rice, Malik Neighbors, and Justin Jefferson. In that order, this ranking came out. Now, something to me that's kind of amazing to see Jefferson down there at number 10. A little amazing. The quarterback play in Minnesota was pretty much garbage this year. I think that's a lot of why they got Justin Jefferson down there at number 10. How Malik Neighbors made it to number 9, I think that's just based off on, everybody having high hopes for what Neighbors could have been and should have been and maybe next year. So I think Malik Neighbors is a little bit high there. There's some guys in that tier 2 ranking that I think could replace him. Same with Drake London and CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb's a little high. I think Amon St. Brown probably should have been ahead of Lamb there. And then you jump down to tier 2 with Pickens, Adams, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, who didn't hardly play all year, and then the rookie Tet Millen from the Panthers. Luther Burden, how he ended up in that top 20 is amazing to me. There's some guys that I think had a lot better year than he did, Mbuka, for one, had a lot better year than Luther Burden. Terry McLaurin and Jalen Waddle. So those are kind of the two different tiers there. One of the big names to talk about there is Pickens. I definitely think Pickens probably should have been up there even ahead of Rasheen Rice. And right there with Drake London's status as far as I'm concerned. Adams had a great solid year. I think you probably could have put him in place of Malik Neighbors. Not much higher than that. He probably numbers-wise was right there with Justin Jefferson. So, that's not too far off. Chris Olave came on. He was injured in the beginning of the season, kind of came on. How Garrett Wilson is even in this top 20 is beyond me. The guy's been out with a knee injury all year. Look for him to come back. Tet definitely had a great year at the Panthers as a rookie. Luther Burden is injury prone. How he made it there. Terry McLaurin, I'm surprised to see him in this top 20. Jalen Waddle definitely picked up the pace and was solid for a few weeks, but still, to me, not worthy in the top 20. So those are those rankings going into 2026. I don't know where you think you guys would pick some of these guys in your drafts going into 2026, but I think that top 10 is pretty noteworthy. I think a lot of those guys deserve to be where they're at. There's a couple of them I think could fall a few spots, and we'll talk a little bit more A.J. Brown coming up. In fact, that's next. Let's talk A.J. Brown because a lot of talk of him getting traded. A lot of talk. Is the problem with A.J. Brown with the head coach? Was it with the offensive coordinator that they just fired? Or is it with the quarterback? Well, I think it kind of stems all the way back to the Tennessee days with A.J. Brown. I think he's just a attention freak that loves to get the football. And when he doesn't get the football, he's bitching, he's crying, he's screaming. And I don't think Jalen Hurts really wants to be involved in that. So I think there's a little tension between the quarterback and A.J. Brown, but I think that's minuscule to what this guy is causing in the locker room. And I think with the head coach, there's major problems with A.J. Brown. I think that's where the problems lie. A.J. Brown, does he get traded? I absolutely think so. Where his landing spots are is going to be great offseason talk. I do look for him to get traded. We'll see what happens with him and where he ends up. So we'll see what happens there. I'm really not an A.J. Brown fan, to be honest with you guys. I don't know. I don't know whether the term crybaby or entitled. I think the guy feels entitled. That's a better way to express my view of A.J. Brown. I think he feels like he's an entitled wide receiver, and to me doesn't deserve the entitlement that he thinks he does. I think the guy just needs to keep his mouth shut and play football and let his on-field performances prove what he's worthy of. So we'll see where he goes. I think it's going to be some of the biggest talk in the offseason with him and his antics. And, I kind of put him in the category of Diggs, Stephon Diggs, only worse. So that's my opinion on A.J. Brown. We'll see what happens in the offseason with him. All right. This one here, we're going to talk a little bit about this game. All right. So we got the Bills and the Broncos talk going on. Like I've said all through the offseason, like I've said all through 2025, Josh Allen is one hell of a quarterback, okay? Sean, I love you. He's a great guy, and I understand why you love Josh Allen. But until the Buffalo Bills get themselves a wide receiver one, they are not going to win a Super Bowl. Even with Lamar Jackson out, Mahomes out, everybody's saying this is Josh Allen's time to shine and get to the Super Bowl. I don't think they make it this year. Okay. Unless Shakir can have one hell of a game, and I'm talking about a career game, and against the Broncos DBs, I don't see it happening. Okay. So it's going to take a total letdown with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. This game is 110% on Sean Payton and Bo Nix. If those two guys go into this game and have a good game from a head coaching, play calling, offensive play calling standpoint, and the quarterback play out of Bo Nix, the Buffalo Bills have no chance to win this football game. Okay. This defense is going to hold Josh Allen in check, is going to hold Cooks in check to the point to where the Bills would have to rely on their passing game, and outside of their tight end passing game is the only way the Buffalo Bills could pull this out. Is the short dink and dunk pass game and a couple big running plays by Cook. Okay. So do the odds favor the Bills in this game? I'm going to say no. I am going to say in Mile High, the Bills are going to struggle to win this game. Now, if Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills can spend most of their time in the red zone, they have a chance. Between Knox and Kincaid in the short passing game is the only way they're going to win this football game. So if those two tight ends can have a big day and Josh Allen can run the football in the red zone and get in the end zone, which he's very capable of, could keep this close. When this line first came out, I was high on the Broncos, like a 12-point win. I've since kind of dropped that a little bit. I still think the Broncos win this game, and I think they win it by 9 points. So, Josh, I'm sorry. You're a great quarterback. The Buffalo Bills are struggling. I don't know really who's in charge of their personnel, who does the majority of the drafting for these guys, but they have to find someone in free agency. I'm talking big name wide receiver, or they have to draft a wide receiver this year in the draft. And, I'd love to see Josh Allen, make it to the Super Bowl at least. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Surtain and some of these DBs are going to have a lot to say about it. And with the front seven of this defense, I don't see them moving the ball downfield enough to stay in this game. So I'm taking the Broncos by 9. That's my take on that game. All right, so we're going to talk a bit of racing for a minute. This one kind of touches home a little bit. I got a personal relationship with the Harvicks. Kevin, back in his ASA days, a good friend of mine, MJ, up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Girl, I love you. I'm praying for you. I know you're struggling with a lot of health issues. But MJ, a good friend of mine from Berlin Speedway, where I used to race my race cars every weekend. We're all kind of a big family up there at Berlin. Kevin Harvick's wife and Kevin Harvick's mother-in-law are good friends of mine. And when Kevin married Delana and had Keelan, we all used to sit around in Daytona Beach during Daytona 500 week, and we'd sit up to MJ's condo and watch Keelan as a baby and babysit baby Harvick. So we used to not spend so much time at the track as we did watching Keelan for Delana and Kevin. And so this is kind of a very rewarding thing for me to see Keelan doing so well. Just look at that picture. He's spitting image of his daddy, and this kid can drive a race car. He can drive a race car. He's made his way into the late model ranks, kicking ass, taking names. He's even beaten his own man. He's beaten some of these guys that have been racing way longer than him. This kid is going to be one of your next NASCAR, greats. So he's easing into the ASA Southern Super Series this year. He's going to debut his start this year. So if you're into racing, you're into stock car racing, definitely check this Harvick kid out. Watch him, just like, Brexton Busch, Kyle Busch's kid, same type of bloodline, same type of thing. Keelan's a little ahead of him, but this is great fun to watch, especially for me being so close to the family. So check this kid out. Watch him this spring. Watch him this summer. This kid is going to be stacking up trophies. So I'm excited to see Keelan Harvick race. All right. So while we're talking about racing, we got the Daytona 500 coming up to Florida. One thing, if you are from the north and you are a dirt track guy, you know what Volusia County Speedway is. This is probably one of the party destinations in Florida for race car fans, okay? Volusia County Speedway is probably some of the most best watched, best visited dirt track racing that you can get, from the wing sprints to the outlaw late models, to your modifieds. Kenny Wallace, all these guys have spent and cut their teeth in Volusia County Speedway just before the Daytona 500, which is right around the corner. Volusia County Speedway, right over by Ormond Beach, just north of Daytona Beach. Great place to go camping, great place to tailgate, great place to hang out and enjoy some of the best dirt track racing you will ever witness. So if you're down this way in January and February, definitely check out Volusia County Speedway. Lots of room for camping, lots of room for RVs. Check them out. It's a lot of fun. We spend a lot of time over there before the Daytona 500, and a lot of your Daytona 500 NASCAR drivers race dirt. Your Dillon brothers race over there, and like I said, Wallace. It's just a lot of fun to go over there and hang out. Great racing. Get some dirt in your teeth, dirt in your beer, however you want to put it. But great dirt track racing coming up right around the corner. All right, let's talk a little bit about this kid. Another one of your NIL portal candidates. All right, this kid was playing great football, quarterback at Arizona State. He is now transferred to LSU. Okay, so now where'd the Lane Kiffin thing come into this? I have no idea. I wish Sam would have stayed at Arizona State, to be honest with you. I am not an LSU fan. However, I got a lot of stock in a couple LSU players in Debbie leagues, but namely running backs. Can this play out for Sam Levitt to gain? I'm sure financially, yes. From the NIL standpoint, he is going to make more money playing for LSU than he would have if he'd stayed at Arizona State. Granted, give it to you. However, is he going to be that good at LSU to get them over the hump and get them back into the graces of championship run? I don't know, because wide receiver wise, we'll see. If you look at some of the stats this kid has put up, he can throw the football. He can run the football. We'll see. But we'll have a whole lot more talk on some of this portal stuff happening on Saturday night. We're going to profile some wide receivers that are making a lot of moves in the portal. The portal is just off the chain busy. I mean, it's crazy. So to follow it from a Debbie fantasy football side, it's great fun. Keeping track of where your Debbie players are going to be is confusing. I mean, you need a you need a spreadsheet for that shit. So we'll see where that ends up. But this happened this week, so thought I'd throw that in there before the Saturday night show. All right, another advertisement we got going on is the monster trucks in Brooksville, Florida, January 24th and 25th in Hernando County Fairgrounds. Guys, this is a great event, especially for the kids. It's a very laid-back fairgrounds. It's small, not a lot of traffic. You know, it's not like going to a metropolitan city stadium, like, you know, even in Tampa Bay at Raymond James, or, you know, some of these stadiums where you go in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz, to watch these monster trucks. This is new to Brooksville. This is going to be a great event, especially for the kids. If you guys got kids 10, 12, 14 years old, get these guys out there. $10 for the kids. Again, it's January 24th and 25th, Hernando County Fairgrounds in Brooksville, Florida. Check it out. I think you guys will enjoy it. And where are we at now? Okay, we're going to move into the big, as Scotty would say, the elephant in the room. Okay, so we had the John Harbaugh thing, and now we got, you know, the Mike Tomlin thing. A lot of people are saying that he did this step down, walk away from the Steelers thing after 18 years of coaching because the fans disliked him. This is Tomlin's own words. Tomlin saying the main reason he stepped down is because of the fans in Pittsburgh. Well, I think if you look back at the 80s and the early 90s, I can see why the fans are frustrated. I as growing up as a kid, I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I was your Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Jack Ham, you know, Franco Harris, Rocky Bleier, Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw. That was my team as a kid. I miss those days. They dominated. It was always them and the Dallas Cowboys, you know, head to head, boom, 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 Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, trophy, trophy, trophy. All right, so Tomlin, you know, hangs his hat on never having a losing season. Well, never having a losing season in boring your fan base to death could be your demise. And I'm right along with the fans of Pittsburgh. He got boring. Okay, he said all the right things at the podium. Great culture guy. Got it. Rooney family loved him. Got it. Okay. You know, you talk about just having the three big head coaches in the last, since 1970 through now, three head coaches. I get it. Great legacy, dude. You are on the winning side of the football. I get it. What is it? 1 Super Bowl, 2 championship, 2 conference championships, and I don't know what the win-loss ratio was, but it was definitely on the positive because he didn't ever have a losing season. However, I think this was a good move on his part to save his name, to save his legacy, and I honestly think he's going to, you know, go into media at least for a year because there is no way in hell that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to give up a first-round pick or a second-round pick and have someone pick up his $16.5 million a year contract to go coach. So I don't think you're going to see a Sean Payton situation like the Denver Broncos did with New Orleans, where they had to give up picks. I think Sean Payton cost Denver a first round and a fourth round, and I forget what the money was. But same type of scenario is going to happen with Tomlin if he's going to coach this next year, okay? Because he was not fired. So that just tells you right there, Tomlin's not stupid, and he knows how the Rooneys spend their money, and he knows damn well ain't nobody going to pay him and pick up his contract and give up a first or a second round pick to get him to coach this year. I don't give a shit if there's 9 open coaching jobs right now. he's not getting one of them. I think he's going to go into TV. I think you will see him probably cut a pretty lucrative deal and move into the booth for a year. Okay, so does he go back into coaching, Jimbos? I don't know. A whole lot of people down here in Tampa Bay think so. There's some local radio guys down here that blow my mind thinking Tomlin's going to take a year off, go into media, and then he's going to take over Todd Bowles' job next year. Bullshit. I don't see it happening. I don't see, even with Tomlin's ties to the Tampa Bay Bucks, I don't think he will end up back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So a lot of guys here in town do. I don't think so. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited for Tomlin to go in the booth. I've always loved the way he speaks at the podium. I like his open reality, in-your-face truth. He don't candy coat shit. He tells it how it is, and he's an old-school type coach, which attracts me to him. I like his culture. I like his thought process. I just think he's burned up. I think he's burned out. I think he's burned up. And I think TV will do Mike Tomlin good. So good luck to you, Mike Tomlin, in 2026. I hope the best for you in TV. All right, now this one. All right, so I talked to you guys a little bit last week about this John Harbaugh thing being way deeper than just getting fired, way deeper than just a quarterback situation, a Henry running back situation, offensive coordinator situation. This deal came down to Steve Bisciotti being fed up with Jim Harbaugh in his lackadaisical locker room antics, okay? This job was lost because of John Harbaugh's leadership in the locker room and on the practice field. Not so much in the media, not so much on the NFL Sunday stage, but in the locker room. Now, okay, with that said, do I think there was a whole lot of childish play by Lamar Jackson? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay? Absolutely. I think Lamar Jackson is one of them crybaby bitches in the locker room. I think some of his injuries were not real, and I think he was playing tug-of-war with Harbaugh and Todd Monken from an offensive coordinator standpoint on play calling, and I'm telling you, this job was lost because John Harbaugh got sick and tired of Lamar Jackson's bullshit and decided, you know what? Fire me. I don't care. Well, I think Steve Bisciotti said, you know what? I'm going to hang my hat on my MVP quarterback, and I'm going to move on. And to be honest with you, I think it was the best thing for the Ravens for this to happen from a team standpoint. I think both sides of this, I think as the year, plays out in the offseason, I think a lot of things are going to come out of the closet on this deal. And I think a lot of this was caused by Lamar Jackson. And I honestly think that John Harbaugh is probably pretty happy to walk. However, with that said, I think he'd been very happy to stay without a Lamar Jackson. So, do I think Steve Bisciotti's decision was wrong? No, I don't. I support it. However, choosing the quarterback over the coach, okay, I get it. I'll ride with that. But he better get his MVP quarterback in line. And he has done that by going on the record saying he wants a contract done soon. It ain't going to play out like it did the last time with Lamar Jackson. So I think Lamar Jackson is on the clock with the ownership at the Ravens. And I think he needs to start making some decisions. And he better goddamn well start producing on the football field and not be injured all the time. So we'll see how it ends up. And I hope the best for John Harbaugh. I don't think he'll have a problem getting a job. Where do I think he lands? A lot of people say Miami. I don't think so. I think you're looking at the Atlanta Falcons' next head coach, which is a bad thing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think John Harbaugh ends up at Atlanta. Matt Ryan met with him, I think, earlier this week or late last week. I think it was earlier this week. So we'll see where that stops. I know Harbaugh's kind of got it narrowed down to the Giants in Atlanta, and there's talk of the Tennessee Titans. Why in the hell would anybody want the Tennessee Titan job other than the salary cap? You know, they got a lot of money to spend. So, but I think he'd much rather work for Arthur Blank. So I look for John Harbaugh to land in Atlanta. That's where I think he ends up. We'll see. All right, so now we're going to ruffle little feathers, do the things that everybody says Jimbo shouldn't do the things that got sorry for cussing hanging out in chat tonight. Check this out. Who do you think these two guys are? We talked a little bit about it last week. We talked about the Bert and Ernie show. We talked about the parodies. Yeah. These two guys are going to be headliners. These two guys are going to be the latest and the greatest on show with our next podcast series that's fixing to drop shortly after when. Hang on. Sarah put it in here for me. No, not that Sarah. Totally different Sarah. February 14th, Valentine's Day. The new podcast is going to drop with these two cats. So look forward to them showing up, a little bit about what they're going to be talking about. The Bert and Ernie show. The parody is going to be a little bit of football, a little bit of sarcasm, and a little bit of fun. And I think it'll be great. These two guys, they like talking football, don't they? Look at them. Got them cleats. Look at them spikes. Holy cow. Look at them spikes. Look at them jerseys. Looking good, huh? Look at them pads. Look at them knee pads. I don't even think football players wear knee pads anymore, do they? You know, they wear these, you know, they wonder why they get hurt all the time. Their shoulder pads are smaller than shit. I don't think they wear knee pads or thigh pads anymore. In the shoes they wear, they wonder why they're, you know, breaking ankles, dislocating ankles, and having, you know, all these ACL tears. The shoes they're wearing are like slippers. They ain't even shoes anymore. They're so lightweight. They're so no support. Who knows? But anyways, look forward to this parody coming up. It's going to be a good one, just like the Dollsville one was with Chris and all them guys. So that one was a hoot. Got lots of people from the app on there. And that's the only way you guys can get the parodies is through the app. So if you're interested in checking out our parodies and the app, hit me up. You guys know how to do it. All right. So that's that. Oh, let's talk about this. This is an easy one to talk about. Today, January 14th. What's January 14th? Well, January 14th is my youngest child's birthday. He is now 37 years old. He's in the center of the picture with his lovely daughter, my granddaughter, Ellie Mae, in the background. My dog, Puka, which was way before Puka Nakua. We named her after a little shell we found on the beach in Hawaii on vacation. And that's my fat ass over there in the pool at my house because I live in Southern Florida and enjoy the pool every now and then. But happy birthday to my son, Kyle Furlan. Kyle, happy birthday. I love you, son. I hope you have the best 37th birthday that any young man could have. So happy birthday. So we got that out of the way. We talked about the parody clowns. Yeah, parody clowns. Bert and Ernie. They'll have different names by the day of the parody. We'll drop that when we get their names. They're working on it in the PR department. I think the first. Did you guys hang on? Hey, Jonas, did you guys decide on Baldy's name? That one's done, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. This is Scooter. Scooter. bring it back up. This is Scooter, the baldy guy. His name has already been decided. It's Scooter. Scooter. Anyway, they ain't got they don't have a name for the long-haired pothead guy yet, but they'll get it. All right, so next up, your schedule for the weekend playoffs. Playoff weekend coming up. We talked a little bit about the Bills and the Broncos. We talked a little bit about the 49ers and the Seahawks. We talked a little bit about the Texans and the Patriots. We talked a little bit about the Bears and the Rams. But that's your schedule. Saturday, 4:30 on CBS, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. You got the Bills and the Broncos kicking it off. The 49ers and the Seahawks are coming in at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. And then Sunday is the Texans and the Patriots on Sunday at 3 p.m. on ESPN ABC. And then you got the Bears-Rams game following that up. And should be a great weekend of football. And we'll see where all that goes. We got our leagues that have been dropping for Inner Circle Fantasy Sports. We got some commissioners that are putting together a podcast show that we're going to do with a couple commissioners. That is coming up. Hopefully we can get that in by next Wednesday. We're waiting on one other guy to get his stuff, his poop in a group, if you will. And we're trying to put that commissioners meeting / podcast live next week. We're hoping for that to air. Again, be praying for Jay. He's had some extremely bad things going on at home, in his family. He's had some things to deal with. And Jay, we're praying for you. I hope things get better, and we'll go from there. And Chris, to answer your question as far as, Trader Clem, hey, everybody, don't help this guy when he's in need. He'll turn, what do you got to say, Sean? He'll turn around and make stupid parodies about you. Sean, who said we're making stupid parodies about you? That's funny. See, this is what happened, guys. And I love these guys coming in the chat because you know what? You know what it shows? You know what it shows by all these guys coming in the chat from the past. Okay, so now, thanks so much, Sean. Sean, you gave me a segue that is just, I couldn't even ask for a better segue, dude. All right, so now that you opened the door, just like Loudmouth Sorry for Cussing did, I love this. Because, see, guys, this gives me an opportunity to bring out the things that happened at Ballsville that I went through. I am the only one, that stood behind Trader Clem and Scott Fitzgerald when they got shortchanged at Ballsville. I stood behind them. What I did not do, which they're pissed about, is that I didn't leave Ballsville when they did. Okay? And that's all documented why I didn't. But however, in Las Vegas, Nevada, I stood behind them guys. I stood behind them guys after Las Vegas, Nevada, and always promoted them as a couple and their show. Promoted them every week that I was on the air. I promoted them guys. Stood behind them. However, I did not leave Ballsville, which butthurt both of them. They both were butthurt because I didn't leave Ballsville when they did, when they got screwed over by Westlax. Okay? Alex, I get it. You were pissed. Rightfully so. We had those private conversations that I hurt your feelings by not leaving Ballsville. But I was committed to Alex, and I was committed to the Ballsville players, and I stayed there. Okay? And I put every ounce of energy I had into those leagues and those players. Okay? You can go ahead and get pissed off why I left. You can go ahead and get pissed off because I called Sarah a name on air. I get it. But that don't change me. Okay? I have stood by you guys through thick and thin. And Sean, yes, I have given you your accolades, helping me out during the hurricanes more than I probably ever needed to. I brought it up goddamn every time I talked on air. I thanked you. Go back and play them. If anybody wants to see the fucking truth, go back and play when I was a guest on your show. I gave you all the accolades. I stood behind both you motherfuckers. Every goddamn time I was on air and every time I was off air. I didn't never leave your fucking side. You tell me one time, one, where you promoted me in my show while you two sit back on your ass and said, I'm not going to raise any shit with Alex because I don't want to lose my money that I might make off my leagues this year. So I'm going to wait till the end of the year. You know what? I didn't give a shit about Alex removing me. What I gave a shit about was speaking the truth. What'd I lose? $200, $300, $400. You guys were so goddamn scared to death to lose what you had invested in speak the truth. What you were speaking behind closed doors about Alex. What you were speaking behind closed doors about everybody at Ballsville. But you didn't want to cause any waves before the end of the year. You wanted to just let it play out. And then you were going to do what you guys intended to do all along. Great. Do it. And then all of a sudden you disappear like a fucking magic trick. That's fine with me. I'm good. I'm good with it. Just like I've always been. I've stood my ground, stood the truth, spoke the truth. But now you're butthurt? Really? You're butthurt. That's fine. It just shows where your loyalty lies. And I get it. I get it. Do what you got to do to make the few bucks that you made off your leagues at Ballsville. And go ahead, and while you're talking about it, and you want to talk about the things that you're talking about, and about the things that you're fixing to do against Alex in Ballsville, do you want me to bring that out? I can do that. Or are you going to be man enough, Mr. Clem, Sean Clem, in chat tonight, Trader Clem? Why don't you have the balls to talk on air? Why don't you have the balls to talk to Alex and tell him what y'all fixing to do? But you don't, and you won't. You'll sit and sponge off your family and do what you do, and smoke your dope and play your games. I'm good with it. And guess what? You got your platform. Alex has got his. I've give Alex his accolades. I've believed in that guy for what he does for fantasy players in his leagues. There's no better commissioner in the world. However, Alex is raking and making money. I get it. Do it. Just be honest to the players on how you're doing it. Be honest with the government on how you're doing it. And be honest with Sleeper on how you're doing it. That's it. But as far as a commissioner in fantasy football, in reality, which all of us degenerate gamblers are, there's no better commissioner anywhere on this fucking planet that is better than Westlax. He is the best, has the best fantasy football that you can buy by leaps and bounds over everyone. I don't agree with everything Alex does. I don't agree with how Alex handles a lot of things he does. But at the end of the day, he's the most committed. He works harder than you, Mr. Clem, you lazy ass. And works more than you, Mr. Bald-headed Scott Fitzgerald, you lazy ass. Who stood in? Well, you two fucks couldn't keep up and do your triathlon commitments that me and Chris, sorry for cussing, did all the goddamn work while y'all two sat on your ass. So let's talk about it. Y'all came on my fucking air tonight. You want to talk? Let's talk. Let's get it out. Oh, I forgot. You two don't like to air it out. Well, I do. And I will continue to. Because you know what? It's the truth. The truth. The truth. Why do you think Alex dumped you, you piece of shit? Because you were worthless. Worthless. And talk about talking out of both sides of your mouth. That's why Alex removed you. Both of you. And yeah. Who stood behind you? Me. Because I loved you both. But after it's all shook out, in the way you guys ended it was pretty lame. Chris, you know how I feel about you, buddy. I've backed you since day one until you started running your mouth. The only one I had an issue with was Sarah, and I aired that out at the time. Yeah, C-Bomb did his things. Absolutely. And I was honest about how I felt that with some of the things that went down with that. But there is no better place to play fantasy football than Ballsville. So if anybody's looking for a league to go play, look up Ballsville. Just be aware of how Alex runs a very, 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 very tight ship and don't put up with nobody's shit, including mine. Rightfully so. The only thing I wished Alex would have done was allowed people to have their own views. But Alex puts a stop to it real fast because he doesn't allow bullshit in his leagues with nobody. And as far as someone being there behind his players in his leagues, there's nobody more committed. So go play at Ballsville. Damn sure don't go play at Sudden Death. So there you go, Mr. Trader Clown. You came on my airwaves tonight talking shit. So you get the shit back, Jack. Because you know what? I'm not afraid to talk about it in front of everybody. You guys want to be politically correct. I get it. But you know what? I don't care how many followers I got. Told you that from the get. But guess who was on my show tonight coming in here talking shit? I was on your show last night. Did I talk shit? No. I talked football. I didn't go on your show last night talking shit. Oh, yeah, I made fun of Scott with his big, shiny, bald head. But I'd have done that person to person, face to face with him. The goddamn light was shining off his head like a goddamn beacon out here, fucking lighthouse. Out here on the beach. That was fun. But I didn't come on your show causing shit. But you know what? You've proved your true colors coming on my show talking shit, just like Chris did, which Chris does that. I get it. It's reality. But guess what? It's all good. Let's keep it going. And for all you guys watching tonight, you get firsthand bullshit of what goes on in some of these leagues. I know you guys all play in a lot of leagues. So do we. So do they. But last year was definitely a learning experience for a lot of people. And I wish Alex and Ballsville the best. I wish all of their managers, Zoobs, I miss talking to you. I wish the best for all you guys. Just like any divorce, whether it's with a husband and a wife or a job or a friend or a fucking fantasy football league, there's going to be issues. I'm good with it. Are you? And are you willing to play the game? Because I am. In fact, I like it. So bring it. And if you want to play from your little hole in the ground out there in Las Vegas, living off your family, smoking your dope, let's do it. You can pull out of my leagues. You can leave my Discord. You cannot answer your phone. You can avoid me all you want. But I ain't going away. No. I'll be there. Just like the tiger in the jungle, my friend. Just never know where Jimbo's going to be. So all you guys out there, have a good week. We'll see you Saturday night. And all you truckers show, we'll see you on Friday. Y'all have a good week. Peace. Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed the show.